Hello and welcome back to DG Trades. I see a nice trade setting up. Of course, this is not financial advice. This is all my opinion and my personal experience as a trader. I'm looking at this for myself and sharing you my experience. So please consult a financial advisor before you do this. Blah, blah, blah. Disclaimer. Okay. So AMP is looking like a nice setup for me right now. I'm currently in, just to, let you guys know that, to give you that transparency, I am in AMP. I'm seeing a nice setup here. And I'm going to explain to you three really important trend lines that I see. And first was the ICO trend line. And I've highlighted them in a purpley pink so you guys can see them according to the other trend lines that I've drawn here. It looks like I'm just drawing all over the place, but it actually means something. So the first trend line, very important. And you can see every time we hit this trend line, some violent things happen, some volatility to the up and downside, just boom. It's a very important trend line. And you can see every time it hits it, boom, violent swing up. Then you can see a test here, violent swing down. Here we got another area, violent swing up, test off of it, bounces. Okay, still going up. And then boom, comes down to this, tests it again, violent swing down, up, down. You can see this line here. Here we have a Coinbase listing, so you guys get the idea of like the time period and the timeline. Now this is a daily, and then we'll go to the weekly, so because we'll get a better view of the weekly as well. But I want to show you the daily. That's for the past year essentially, and I want to go over all these indicators and what they mean and what this means for you in this nice setup that I see developing. I see Coinbase right here because there's not a lot of coverage on AMP as well. AMP is an insurance token or a collateral token used by Flexa Pay. It's, a lot of people confuse AMP and say, oh, AMP is Flexa. And in a way, they are joined together because the people of Flexa are using AMP token as a collateral token. When you stake your token in AMP, those tokens are actually used. It's a pure insurance crypto play. I actually like it. It's a great idea. It's pretty smart, and it doesn't get enough talked about. And people look at AMP and they go, I'm not quite sure, it doesn't do anything. But the chart is not a bad chart. It does not look that bad to me. The chart is actually quite healthy. Let's go over this. Okay, so Coinbase listing, boom, through the roof. Right now, here's another important trend line. So here we have structure forming, and we can see now over, you can see this as time develops. This pinky purple line here is a bear resistance trend line. You can see we've drawn it to, I like to draw to the wicks. I generally draw to the extensions of the wicks to get a better, clear technical analysis. And you can see that is a very important resistance line. You can see we're not that far away. You can see that we are not far away from two very important trend lines. Okay, now I'm going to show you the third and final trend line that I think is really important. This is this kind of breakout move here since January of the beginning of the year, and this is the bottom-most kind of bull trend, and you can see it's an important one, and it taps off of this a few times, and we can see right now that at this bull trend here, we're at the very bottom. Actually, it doesn't really tap. This is the first time it's tapped it in forever. People are using these trend lines that I'm using right here. Only once did it ever wick down this far. So we use that as the lowest bull trend right now. You got two other bull trends, inclines, where action is relatively important. And there are these two bull trends right here that are in the blue. And you can see how action hits the bottom of these and we find support. All right. And so like that incline, very important. We can see a wedge right here forming. We can see multiple wedges, and we can see how the coin reacts to this. Now we are in a giant wedge. Like we are actually in a giant wedge here. And usually when the wedge is broken for either way, there will be wild volatility. And we have been waiting now since June for something to happen on AMP, and it has been playing inside the most important wedge right here is this pink wedge. Okay, this purpley pink wedge, that is the most important. Okay, and why I say that is you have your bottom-most bull trend and your topmost bear trend, and you can see we're approaching that right now. Now we had Two other instances happen here where action has dropped, and you can see this cream FUD. This was news where AMP got hacked, but it didn't. AMP did not get hacked. It was not a bad story for AMP. AMP just happened to get hacked off of a platform called Cream. It was no fault of AMP's. It was the fault of the platform itself, and it sold. And I made a video around here like, hey, this might be a good buying opportunity, and it was for like $0.015 almost. And then we had the giant kind of bear attack on crypto, on Bitcoin, and then we saw this downtrend. And then most recently here with the Evergrande day or Evergrande FUD, where was also a good opportunity to buy this particular dip, in my opinion. And that is because you had China print out a whole bunch of money to bail out their companies. So it's just not democratic countries, and it's just not America that's printing out money. It's also China. Fiat systems are flawed. The banking system is flawed. They're making magic money. This is something that they've always done. This isn't new, but it's become a little bit more ridiculous to this point where nobody wants any economy to be like a true economy. We're just gonna, we're gonna prop it up no matter what. We're gonna inflate the money, and we're going to make it pretty much worthless, and come in after the fact and start to do what we can to deflate. But it's been so long in America. I mean, since 2010. I mean, we've just keep inflating and inflating. You can watch Michael. What's his name? Michael Saylor of MicroStrategy, who's a big proponent of Bitcoin, who just buys Bitcoin. There's a great interview where he talks about why he's buying so much Bitcoin. And I get it, and I understand it. And it's because the fiat system, the banking system is archaic. It's turning into a dinosaur. And this is just like the evolution of banking. And I won't get into that. We'll talk about AMP technical analysis. Maybe I'll do a video about that later. We see another sell-off, right? And then we hear that China's bailing them out. Oh, everything's fixed. Great. Yay. So we saw a break here of this bottom trend line, which is scary. I mean, that's like, oh, crap. But we see that the news, so there could be a reversal again. It could just break down here. It could literally just roll over and break down. But I do notice this 4-cent line is usually a support line. So we got 4 cents as a support line, and I think if we go a little bit lower and tap it at around like 3.4 for a stop, for a stop loss, somewhere around 3.4, and we enter around this point. Even if it goes down, I think it probably is going to hit off of 4, and that's an important test area, and I think support will hold, in my opinion. Again, this is all if Bitcoin stays at 40,000 and above. If Bitcoin starts dipping down below 40,000, then I'd say, okay, time to kind of really look at this trade. But if the general crypto news and the general market kind of shake off this Evergrande thing, and we start going up from here, because these are notoriously good months for crypto. October, November, December, these 3 months are really good for crypto. So this is why I really like this trade, because in the next couple days, we're getting towards the end of this wedge pattern. And it's going to be around the 3rd of October where we get to this point where we're going to see which way this is going to swing. I kind of like to go a little early in these points. I'm dollar cost average around 0.051 cents, because I started buying up around 6 cents, and I bought down here at 4 because, I do technical analysis. So I said, oh, great. I can get in at 4 and cost average down to 5 cents from 6. So that's what I did. I had planned it that way. A limit order went off, and great. I bought it on a dip. Dollar cost average down to 5 cents. And of course, again, for transparency's sake, I am in AMP. And I'm happy that I'm in AMP right now, because I really think that there is some serious upside potential here. The people have been waiting a very long time. People in AMP have been waiting a very long time. And a lot of people are asking, like, why? Well, this is why. We started at 1 penny back here, okay? And then it went down at its lowest point to like 0.003 cents, okay? but since that point, man, it has literally rose up to 12 cents. So there had to be this accumulation phase, or this, what I want to say, this phase where we are consolidating. And of course, we're consolidating in this wedge. You can see the action. You can see it happen here. We know that our top end is 12 cents. We know that the bottom end of this wedge started way back over here. But if we really look at it, the structure is really pretty much in this area. So I would say, like, to me, it's almost like a very extended pendant of sorts, or like a bull flag. I mean, like, if you really kind of scrunch this up, it kind of almost gives me like an idea, like the price action has a very good opportunity to rise from this point. Especially, I think, if we break this wedge, I think we'll test off these bull trends. I think we will start to see like we will start to see an up move in the months that are notoriously good for crypto, as long as everything, like I said, with Bitcoin stays around like above 40-ish, we should start seeing AMP move up. Again, my opinion. And I really think that over the next few months, you could see an AMP that will at least, a prediction here of at least around like 7 cents. Okay. Now, for me, I'm really going to see how it reacts to these trends here. If we break to the upside, it could be like boom, break that. It could just boom, shoot right up to 8 cents. I mean, like, we've seen these moves. We've seen these crazy moves, and this is the volatility of AMP. Like, I feel like it's just this bomb waiting to go off in one direction or the other. So be very careful. Set your losses. I think that this is in a very important range here. This 0.0619 to 0.041. You can see a lot of action happen, and that's why I've highlighted the green right there, support, and the red resistance, because I see a lot of things happen between this region. So many times you could have bought it at 4 and sold it at 6. Like here's an area 4 to 6, 4 to 6, 4 to 6, and here we have another area 4. So I think we'll at least get to 6. I think it's got a good ability to hit the 7 to 7.5 cents rate. And then what I really am looking forward to is it hitting this very important trend line again. Now I'm gonna draw it out here because I didn't extend it far enough. Shame on me here. Let's see here. We're gonna do that. Give me 1 second here. There we go. So yeah, that's 0.069, 69. So 7 cents. I'm really curious to see this react. And I really think after we hit this wedge, at the end of this wedge around October 3rd, we can see a move. We might even see a move sooner than that. But like, I think we'll at least get a pop up to 6.5 cents. I think we could probably get up to the 7 to 7.5 cents range. And I think it's a good area, entry area. And I think we can at least get a penny and a half, 2 pennies. But like, in the long term of it, within the next 3 months, I personally think that we could, with the way that this moves, we could see finally AMP shake off this bear resistance line here that we've been in. You can see this channel here. It actually, once it hit this channel, it's been trading in this bear kind of trend channel. It's really confused. It's like, what am I doing? Look at all these look at all these bullish lines. I'm kind of hitting and passing through. I'm hitting and passing through. The lowest bull trend line breaking with the China FUD and the Evergrande FUD. And then people going, oh, wait a second, China printed money. Okay, back in the wedge again. And I think once we get out of this, and we are going to see a pop up. That's, again, my opinion. My stop out is down here. I don't have tons of money in this. I have a stop out of, I think, 3.034, somewhere thereabouts. And if it goes down to 4, I have another order, a limit order to buy again. So I think it's a nice setup. I think it's a nice setup, at least for 2 cents, 3 cents, which is big when you're talking about a coin that is 5 cents right now. So that's a pretty good size move. But I'm thinking about how this kind of exploded up. I'm thinking about these violent swings up, and once we pass this bear trend line, there's really nothing other than what we've drawn here. So this resistance where we've seen a lot of price action have a fight at 6-1. So there's a penny and a tenth of a penny right there. So there's 1 penny. But I think then we will probably test this area, which is around the 0.069 area. So and if it gets back on that line, if it gets back on track with that very important trend line that was from the ICO, you can see that we have these violent swings up, and we also have those violent swings down too. But if it can get past this beginning trend line here at the around like 6.9, by the time I think we get past this wedge, the price of it will be around 6.5 cents. So the 6.5 cents area, if we can bust through that 6.5 cents area after we've gone through this bearish wedge, I really think we can see a large size move up, and it could very well, in my opinion, be a double. How much farther than that, I'm not going to speculate. But there is a good chance of a double. Don't be greedy. Pay attention to the market news overall. But like on the technical analysis side of things, this is looking like a wonderful setup for me. And I'm going to evaluate as we hit, again, I think as we hit as we hit a little above 6 cents, as we hit 6.5 cents, and I'm going to watch the action around these lines. And if it can sit on that line, or if it busts through that line, I think it's off to the races. If it busts through that initial bull trend line from the very beginning ICO, we see what happens. We can see what happens. Boom. We got an upswing back here. You can look at the upswing back here. We went from 4 cents to 0.068 cents, so almost a 3 cent move. So you almost doubled. I mean, what was that, like 70% gains right there? This is just off the top of my head. And then we hit again. We hit again here at 5 cents, went up to almost 8 cents. So another 3 cents, a pretty good size move, right there. And then, we broke down below that. You can see that violent swing down from that trend line. And then we hit that trend again. And then you could see just this explosive move up. And again, that was on Coinbase. So obviously there was that moon hype. But you see right there from 5 cents to 12 cents. And then you see, and I think the reason why I think that we could see a move up from this point and almost a double is because people have been waiting for a long time. This has been like simmering and simmering and simmering and simmering for in crypto. You're talking from June to October now. Was that July, August, September? We're 3 months in the crypto world. It's like a year and a half. Like people, everything's been reacting great. Sol's been shooting up, and Cardano went up, and all these other cryptos are going up. Avalanche shooting crazy up. People holding AMP right now are like, do something, shit or get off the pot. Like, let's move it. Like, what's going on? So I really think like you could see just a very explosive move up here because people have been waiting a very long time from that. And on a technical analysis side, if you can see this trend be broke here, or this bearish trend here, you can see something happen big. And we are only on the daily. If you look at our indicators, I didn't even talk about the indicators, and we're like 20 minutes into this. Thanks if you're still watching. You can see the RSI right now, relative strength index, is only halfway up here. And it might dip back down. We might have like another little break, or but like this could shoot to the upside. You can see the MACD where your EMA, your blue line is crossing your red. It's that's pretty big. On the daily, it looks like we're going to have a crossover to start moving into like a positive strength instead of negative. And if we look at the weekly, we're seeing something really nice happen here. Here, let me get this out of the way. We're seeing a hammer. We're seeing a hammer, and I don't know if you can see that. It's really, you can't see the white. Yeah, you can see the line here. We're seeing a green hammer form. Here's another green hammer, and here's another green hammer. So we got kind of a lock right here. If this finishes like that for the week, this green hammer right here on a candle right now, a green hammer is indicative of bullish movement towards the upside. And if we go to this top of this other green hammer, again, we are that very important line I was talking about, that 0.061, 0.062. And that's where we evaluate, and you look at that, and it moved up a penny, and you say, okay, am I happy with that? What kind of money did I commit to this? If you have lots of money and you win up a penny, doesn't sound like much, but it could be a lot depending upon if you put in a bit of money. So, it's all relative to your own trading profile, the type of person you are, how much you want to commit to this. Again, I have like a stop loss of 0.034. I think I only, have a few $100s in this. But I just love the setup here. I just love this setup. When I see setups like this, I just get really happy. So on the weekly, it's actually looking pretty nice too. Seeing that hammer there like that, just is a pleasure for me. And if the week finishes out with that green hammer like that, I think we break this bear line here, this bear trend line. On the weekly, it's much cleaner. You really can see the action a lot better. And to have this green hammer at the very tip of this wedge, that's juicy. That feels good to me. Of course, depending upon the market and the craziness of crypto, we could go down from here, but that's why you set your stop loss. And I think I set my stop loss low enough to where it wouldn't get triggered and I'd be fine with that loss. So my personal stop loss was 0.034. Yours, whatever. But I think we can at least get 6.5 cents. I think there's a good possibility to get 7 to 7.5 cents. And then after that, that's all profit, and you decide. You make your decisions all the way up and all the way down. It's your trading profile, like the type of trader you are. But for me, I really do see this, as long as Bitcoin can stay over 40,000, and we don't have a continued downtrend. If we have a continued downtrend, yeah, then this is questionable. If this bounce was nothing more than just a bounce from the two really bad days that we had, where we dropped from Bitcoin from 52,000 down to like 40, and or what we do, 52 to 42, then we bounced back up, and then we went down to 39. And again, a lot of the drop that we see here in Bitcoin had to do with a lot of FUD, a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt with the Evergrande paper. People were spouting off this is a Lehman Brothers event back in 2008. If you were a trader then, I was, and you remember the MBS crisis, and you remember how that paper infected the whole world, and how shitty American bankers were when they sold the paper to other countries, and they knew it was bad paper, and they said, oh, let's just sell it anyway to France. Let's sell it over here in Australia. Let's sell it to England. It was a real shitty move by American banks, and they fucked it all up for everyone. And it was bad because it was attached to so much, so many banks and lenders and real estate, and it just brought everything down. And that's what happens in a fiat based system, in this governmental banking marriage that you see, where governments and banks, oh boy, they're in bed together, they're having the best time. And like, if the banks get upset, boy, the government hops too. And this is why we're seeing like Gensler and taking the stance on crypto and calling it, you know, no better than poker chips. And like, really, if you look at Bitcoin as an asset class, you see what's happening with inflation. You see like how the money keeps printing and printing. You can see that Bitcoin is the safest place to be in. Where else are you going to park your money where you can get those types of returns when inflation is bringing down the price of the value of the dollar by like 7% a year? There will be a stop to all this monetary easing. You know, like there will be a deflationary period. There will be a time when the government says, okay, enough. They have to. And when that happens, you're going to see crypto drop. But that, I don't think that's happening anytime soon. So keep that on the radar as well. These 3 months usually are very good for crypto. I understand the what we're in right now is a little bit different than 2017. I understand it's different than prior times. So keep your eye out for that thing. But on the technical analysis side, which is really what I go off of most times, AMP is set up very nicely. If Bitcoin can stay over 40,000, enough. That's enough. I'm tiring myself out. I hope you enjoyed the video. And there you go. Hopefully more along the way as we go. I would like to do daily videos. I just don't have the time to, but maybe, you know, depending upon the attention these videos get, we will see. I know that a lot of people do not cover AMP. And so I think it's a very underrated token. I like, as a collateral token paired with the Flexa pay system. I really think people are underestimating this token. And I like that. I like that. So I think this is a longer hold for me. I think this is going to be like a few months out. I think this is a great entry point. And I think personally, I think this thing could double. So again, my opinions, get a financial advisor, yada, yada, yada. Thanks for watching DD Trades. I hope this, you know, informed you, educated you, and entertained you. I will see you on the next vid.